Okay, here we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome here live to round 4 of NAGP TV's continuing coverage of the GT2 Season 20 Championship here again at NAGP. So, a reversal of fortunes this week. Last week we had the opportunity for Al Merriman to take control of your pictures while I was in the car there for SAS Motorsports. This week, however, we have Al Merriman who's going to be doing some filling in for Team Panzer Faust here tonight. So he'll be out on track and having some fun in the car tonight as well. So Al, you around? What's it like out there? And welcome.
Hey Brad, I am here. Thank you. No, the conditions. It's an interesting track. It's gonna, like you said, it's gonna pose a challenge to the competitors here tonight. But looking forward to it. Track's damp right now, but it's very hot, so still a bit of a challenge out there on the slicks. But do my best filling in for Rich Roman and the Viper. Car's a bit of a handful here, but we'll see how we make out.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we had the opportunity to look at some of these practice times, and of course, they are in the damp. I think what we've been seeing over the week of practice here are times as low as the 1:50 range. We've seen quite a few 51s as well here tonight, but still in all, a very difficult track here at Charade. Should be mentioned exactly where it is we're at here in the beautiful French countryside. So. An interesting challenge is going to face these drivers tonight. We have had some rain as well here and there. This track has only an average chance of rain, but perhaps this damp session was providential, so to speak there, Al. This track can be very tricky in the wet from what we've been hearing from some of these drivers over the course of the week. What are your thoughts on the damp conditions out there?
Well, the damp is definitely... it's like I said, it's definitely a challenge, especially getting the power down in some of these uphill sections. A lot of these corners are off camber. Getting the car to respond the way you like is a bit of a handful. But as long as these guys show a little bit of patience and calm applying the throttle, okay.
Yeah, well, let's hope that's the case. And I did have a chance to run a few reconnaissance laps, not too many, but some of these corners stand in stark contrast to each other. There are some very high-speed sweepers out there. There are some very tight, slow corners as well. Big elevation change, and overall a very interesting test for these drivers here tonight. I would expect that some of our faster guys here tonight will pull out a pretty sizable lead over those guys that maybe haven't gotten as much practice as they would have liked to around here. And, you know, I think there's a good opportunity. We'll see some attrition here tonight as well, as some of these corners can be quite dangerous, and the overtaking opportunities can be a little tight as well. So these guys will have to show a little bit of patience, I think, if they expect to keep that bodywork clean here tonight on some of those overtaking attempts. Now, we're going to be moving here to our qualifying session momentarily. We should get you caught up on the points, though, as we have had a bit of a reversal. Over last week, we ran at Indianapolis, as you will recall, the road course, of course, and had some interesting developments there. First of all, one of the worst pileups in NAGP history took place there right on the start. So, a very unfortunate incident there, but conditions sure played a role, and we had a little problem at the start, and it just backed up the whole field there. So had some troubles there. As a result, however, Andres Prieto and Chris Moses, who were deadlocked for lead in the points there, as we now flip over to qualifying. Andres Prieto actually went out of that race, and Chris Moses has taken over the points lead. So, but interesting, Chris Moses and Andres Prieto had it coming together in that race, and really it has to be said that was part of Andres' undoing there. So Andres Prieto for that Team Columbia collecting no points in that race. Well, Chris Moses did go on to finish with good points, 6th place, I believe. We'll be getting to that momentarily. And so Chris Moses out front of Andres Prieto and David Poole by 11 points at the moment. So David Poole and Andres Prieto tied for 2nd in that championship. Now, Our fourth place member in overall driver points is Esteban Palacio, and that's worth mentioning because Chow Mein Moto also assumed a lead, and not a commanding lead, but assumed a lead in that team classification with that a strong showing there at the Indianapolis Road Course as well. Mike Monahan finishing a strong second in that race, and Esteban Palacio coming in 7th, I believe. Don't have those directly in front of me at the moment, but interesting happenings last week at the Indianapolis Road Course in very challenging conditions. So that'll get you caught up on that aspect of things, and we'll be getting more of that. I do want to mention real quickly that, again, as Al is not on the main broadcast here, I'm happy to broadcast. Make sure we get you some pretty clean and stable pictures. We have to reduce that quality a little bit, so we apologize for that, but hopefully you'll understand and forgive us for that, and we'll have the opportunity to bring you some good action here tonight from Charade. So, we just began our qualifying session. Nobody yet has turned in a lap. They're just now beginning their hot laps, and we're going to see where these guys slot in. Now the conditions have improved quite a bit, so we have a track temperature of 95 degrees and the air temperature there at a nice calm 79 degrees. So no problem there as far as that stuff goes. We'll give Al a chance to get a few timed laps in and see if he can't give us a track update in the conditions that he's feeling. But in any event, we'll keep an eyeball here on Esteban Palacio, as mentioned, part of that Chow Mein Moto squad, who is now on top of that team classification. Excuse me. Very tricky track here. You can see some of the elevation changes that are going to test some of these drivers. Esteban getting that apex a little wrong there. Certainly you can use the curbing around this track, but you do have to be a little bit careful, as there will be a 10% cut rule in effect, so any driver putting all four wheels inside of that curbing there, more than 10% of our total laps here tonight, which should be 32 or 33, will incur a 1 lap penalty in the standings. So these guys will want to make sure not to take advantage too much of that curbing and any extra speed they might be able to get from it. Esteban now coming through these last few S's before our final corner. Very tight final corner here. Tough to get this one correct, especially on exit. See a lot of drivers going into the grass there, and Esteban indeed does clock in with our fastest time at a 1:50 flat. So nice opening lap for Esteban Palacio. We'll take a look at timing and scoring here. Alex White has clocked in almost at the same time. You see David Poole not too far behind. Chris Moses has gotten himself a lap in, but currently a second off the pace. So we're well and truly underway here at Charade for this qualifying session. And it should be said as well that this qualifying session could be very important. We talked a little bit about difficulty in passing around here, and I think that is really going to be the case. I think some of the best opportunities are going to be opportunities where guys will have to take a chance in some of these very slow braking zones. So qualifying could be ever important here. We see Aaron Parsons now jump to the top of the time sheets. First one into the 49s with a 49.8. Jump on board here with Alex White and see what he's got. As you recall from last week, Alex White, of course, did make that car change to the BMW Z4, along with teammate Dave Rowley as well. So Alex White has a reason. Sorry, Al, did you have something?
No, I was just going to say, Brad, the track conditions are pretty solid right now, ideal for qualifying.
So good grip out there for these guys. And how about the traffic out there, Al? Have you had any problems with that yourself?
Have not yet.
So
So far, so good for me.
great. So I should think that this track would not be as bad on traffic unless you happen to get a little unlucky, maybe catch a guy who is a bit off the pace. But given the length of the track, you have a good opportunity to find a little slot in there someplace. So. You see Alex White now headed around that first chicane there into a very tight left-right complex here. Blind corners, off-camber corners, as Al mentioned, and throw in those elevation changes, and this makes for, as mentioned a couple times already, a very stern test. You can see just how twisty it is here at the top of the hill, and some of these braking zones aren't blind, but it's very difficult to pick up just how much you do need to brake into these corners. So drivers that haven't had as many laps in here are going to struggle a little bit finding those optimal lines into some of these corners, particularly those braking zones. Can't find a sector time here for Alex White, currently running P5. So some ground to make up yet if he wants to try to grab that pole position here tonight. See a Ferrari up ahead of him. That looks like it is David Poole. He was showing nice speed in the week of practice as well. Again, coming around the last couple corners, we'll see if Alex is able to keep it off the grass on the outside. Oh boy, not quite. These guys it's so difficult to make your best speed, but Alex White does do that as he jumps to the top of the timesheets here with a 49.4. And as we refer back to that timing chart now, we see Andres Prieto is clocked in second with a 49.5. So Alex White and Andres Prieto both there in the 49 mid-range, and we know that Andres would sure like some redemption after that DNF last week. I was going to mention we started our qualifying session, didn't get an opportunity to, but we're going to mention that Chris Moses, as a result of that contact with Andres Prieto, did incur a weight penalty for tonight, so 15 extra kilograms tacked onto that Ford GT for Chris Moses here tonight. It should be mentioned as well a few other mishaps there last week. Brian Longrain, unfortunately, had some problems there at the start, along with Ian Jolicoeur. Both of those drivers will be having to sit out of this qualifying session and start at the back. Felipe Triana as well had some overly aggressive driving there at the start, so he'll be starting at the back. And Marty Uren as well had another 15 kilogram penalty. So those 5 drivers, had a couple no-nos last week, but they'll get back at it tonight, and I'm sure they'll be able to keep it clean. So Aaron Parsons now. We saw there just about a tenth better than Alex White through that sector. I apologize, that looks like it was the first sector. Nope. It was the second sector, pardon me. Coming around the last corner here now. Let's see if Aaron Parsons can hold on to that speed. Oh, and he's just barely off, so giving up about 1/10 of a second there, and it does propel him up into second place at the moment with 15 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. We see now 6 drivers now into the 149 range. Kevin Savoy had us dipped into that range as well. Now, as you can see there in 6th spot, David Poole, nice time with that 49.9, and Salem Montgomery Jr. kind of pops out of nowhere with a 49.7. Had the opportunity to check out Salem a bit in the damp, was not running that well, so a very nice time by Salem Montgomery Jr. again in that Mosler. We had an opportunity to check out Esteban Palacio. He, of course, turned in that first best time, but has since slid back to 7th on the grid currently. Also taking advantage of the grass on the wide side, or maybe it's not such of an advantage. as you can see there, Esteban about 7/10 worse. Boy, it looks like these guys have all decided to go ahead and take as much of that curbing as they can. So quite a few guys putting those far inside wheels onto that grass. So apparently that seems to them to be the quickest way around this place, and some look like they're putting it to better use than others, but very interesting observation there. So most of our, with the exception of those guys that do have those no qualifyings, most of our 32 car grid here is on track at the moment. We pick up Esteban being followed very closely by a Mustang. That could be John Wathen, or that could be somebody else, not sure. And let's get you caught up here with our current update of the running order. So, same thing. Alex White out front, Aaron Parsons there in second, Andres Prieto now has fallen to third place. That's Salem Montgomery Jr., nice time, and David Poole, of course. There you have the opportunity to see some of the other times. Jaime Moore is slotted in currently into 11th, and David Rowley into 12th. Chris Moses lagging behind a little bit with that 51-1. And let's just take a quick check here on some of our weight ballast. You can see Alex White there with 132 pounds, still in all, with that weight able to put in quite a fine time. So that BMW David Poole as well as 66 pounds or 30 kilos. Marty Urin, Chris Moses, and Mike Monahan all carrying a little bit of weight as well. Andres Prieto's teammate, the other half of Team Columbia, Juan Monroy, just going for an out lap. Looks like Alex White hasn't not improved. Excuse me. Salem Montgomery Jr. just now starting a hot lap. Has some traffic in front. We'll see if he's able to negotiate this traffic and still hold on to the speed of this lap. It looks like this Mercedes is probably on a hot lap himself. So, oh, well, there it goes. Okay. Salem Montgomery Jr. will motor on by. I would suspect that if I were driving this track, I think it would be pretty difficult to get your best lap. Sure, it's a tough track to be consistent on for an entire lap. After all, we're seeing times there in the 1 minute 50-second range, so pretty long lap. And with the difficulty of the track and hitting these lines perfectly time after time, I should think that consistency would be a problem. So it could very well be many of these guys have not yet got their best time in. Salem again taking advantage of that grass. I think that was more of a miscue than anything else, but see quite a few drivers there go ahead and put those inside wheels right on the grass. Like Salem's backing off a little bit here, trying to get himself a little bit of room for that second flyer. And be well and truly off the pace. So Alex White is still out front. Aaron Parsons still in second. Andres Prieto, David Poole as well. Oh, excuse me, there has been a change. David Poole now has moved to the fourth position on the grid currently, with Salem Montgomery Jr. just behind, as you can see, just over 10th off, which bumps Kevin Savoie to the sixth place now. So David Poole has improved by about 3/10 over his last time posted, and so about 10 minutes here to go in this qualifying period, and time's going to be getting tight for these guys. With those long laps, of course, you can only get so many timed laps in with your time having to spend on your out lap as well. You see Marty Urin now has clocked in the 9th fastest time. Well, Juan Monroy has stayed static with his 1 minute 50.1. Interesting, we see Aaron Parsons up there at that 49.4. 4, but Chris Moses nearly a second off in similar equipment. So Chris Moses carrying a little bit of extra success or weight ballast, excuse me, due to that penalty. But I shouldn't think that it would be worth a second. We'll check in here with Al Miramon, see where he's at. Well, he's currently in the pits. Might be a good opportunity. Al, how about you? Have you gotten? No, you haven't gotten a bunch of practice around here. Have you gotten a good lap in? Are you still looking for a good one?
Well, I got a decent lap in, but there's more in it, and I just haven't quite figured it out. There are a couple corners here that you can really take a couple different lines through, and it's really tough to negotiate those. Some of the brake points are tough to pull as well. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Challenging track.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be noted that Al has not had a bunch of practice time here tonight, but I know Al doesn't look forward to needing any excuses here tonight. So best of luck the rest of the way, and look forward to checking in with you as often as we can, Al. So we see Alex White has just crushed. Oh, sorry, Al, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say thanks, Brett. And the heat, the softs are. After your initial hot lap, you want to get 2
So it sounds like just a single lap is going to be the best opportunity. Single time lap on the softs.
Yeah, that sounds like it for me anyway.
Right. Well, you got a few laps left there, Al. Go get them. So we see Andres Prieto here now on a timed lap in that Ford GT, and he is going to want a good one because Alex White has simply crushed his previous time of that 149.4. Now picked up nearly a full half second off, takes another half second out of that time. Now the only driver into the 48 of that 48.9. So very nice time by Alex White, particularly considering those 60 kilograms of weight he's got on the car. So these guys are going to be challenged to respond this time. See, Aaron Parsons just now starting the lap, and I'm sorry we just missed Andres. Andres has bettered his time to 49.3, gets back up into the second spot overall. However, not enough. Still a good 4/10 off of that Alex White time just posted. So Andres now coming up to some traffic here. We see David Poole and another BMW in front. That could be gets out of the way. That BMW could be Alex White, or it could be teammate David Rowley. So Alex White here laying down the law late in this qualifying period. Now with 6 minutes 20 seconds to go here. These guys are really going to have to put in their best as Andres Prieto has gone off. So he'll be scrubbing that lap off and looking to get out as quickly as he can. I don't know that these guys are going to be able to respond. We saw Aaron Parsons on a hot lap, so let's make sure we check in with him as he is somewhere about halfway around this lap. Slow corners these, having to put whatever power you got all the way down coming up this hill. Aaron coming up to the final corner. Big lockup. And no, he is going to be well and truly off the pace. As you can see, some 4/10 of a second off of his best time. Andres Prieto on that out lap now, looking to take another go, another opportunity after missing the last one. David Poole, 9/10 off the pace through sector. I'm sorry, that was at the stripe, so David Poole will not better his time on that lap. Boy, Alex White putting in that kind of time. These guys are really going to be challenged not only here in this qualifying period, of course, but might be on the outside looking in over the course of this race if they can't figure out some way to pick up at least a couple tenths on this guy. And it should be noted, not only is Alex White showing that tremendous pace, but also that switch to the BMW will give him quite a bit of fuel economy to play with. Unfortunately, didn't have a chance to do a lot of recon laps or research here about what kind of tire wear or fuel use we can expect around this place, but certainly whatever it is, Alex White will have better than the majority of his competition on both accounts. Salem Montgomery Jr. coming to the stripe now. He will be off the pace, so 4 minutes left to go. These guys basically, if leaving the pits now, will get one timed lap in. It looks like just about everybody's out on track. Andres Prieto turning into turn 2 now has a Viper in front of him. That would either be, well, he has escaped back to the pits. S is taking some of that grass, taking some of the curb, taking everything. And 1/10 off in the first sector is Andres Prieto. So this exciting qualifying action once again is brought to you by NAGP TV. Thank you so much for tuning in. We apologize for the lack of quality on the pictures there, but as main broadcaster Al Merriman is on track tonight, we'll have to downgrade those pictures a little bit to make sure that they run nice and clean for you tonight. So bear with us on that regard, but sit back and get ready for one heck of a race coming up. Andres Prieto now 2/10 off in sector 2. He's not looking like he's going to do it, but certainly has the opportunity to gain some ground on his previous time. And Andres puts it off about in the same place he did before. And unless Andres has another fuel for another lap, he is going to be out of this qualifying session doing no better than P2. Aaron Parsons now on his timed lap. About 3/10 off there in that sector. So I don't know that these guys are going to be able to manage the time here to get close to that stellar time put in by Alex White. It's going to be looking like it's going to be quite a challenge on this long downhill twisty back section, a very fun part of the track. Tight braking zone. You can let it run a little wide here on exit. You see Aaron doesn't quite get out all the way to that wall, but Aaron really challenging full width of this track, but it's not going to be enough. He is 6/10 off. And Aaron, I don't think will even have time for another timed lap should he have the fuel to go that long. We'll keep on board Aaron here just in case we see him continuing another lap here, but we're about at the close of this qualifying session. See, Aaron is done, so no better than third on the grid for Aaron Parsons. On board now with Andres Prieto. You can see that he did have enough fuel for another lap, but is well off the pace, 6/10 off. Andres Prieto is not going to do it. David Poole now down in that downhill section we just saw. No more of the track than Aaron Parsons. .4 off through sector 2. David certainly has an opportunity, however, to pick up a couple of positions yet. I know that he was really looking forward to this track and in this Ferrari as well. Really thinking he had a good opportunity to do some damage here tonight. And and that will improve his time. Oh, check that. Yes! That improves his time by a tenth. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he was able to improve his position on track. Kevin Savoie is somewhere out on track. Let me see if I can. Very twisty track here. A lot of corners. Hard to identify some of them. Oh, it looks like he is going to be able to get this lap in, perhaps. A lot of understeer by the Jag. A lot of understeer, a lot of oversteer. So, unfortunately, of course, that will not quite be good enough for Kevin Savoie, and that's going to end our session. So, very interesting qualifying period. Alex White really stomping the field here with that 148.9. The only driver into the 48s, as you can see, and also the only driver who is on pole position. So these guys not able to match. We can see Andres Prieto held on to that second spot. Aaron Parsons put in a nice lap in his Ford for third. David Poole and Esteban Palacio fourth and fifth. So an interesting qualifying session, and we now have 8 drivers who did make it into the 49s, and we'll get to those guys quickly. But Al, how'd that qualifying session go for you?
It didn't go as well as I would have liked there, Brad. Quite honestly, I just kept making mistakes, and I know I'm quicker than that, but what are you going to do?
Well, yeah, it certainly happens. Somewhere on the grid is good enough generally in these races, and always have the possibility to work forward, particularly on a track like this. You have any particular strategies in mind, maybe to best your competitors out there tonight? You're gonna play it pretty cautious. You're gonna be a little aggressive tonight.
No, I just want to try and get in the points for Panzer Faust's team, and you know, just help them out in the championship. That's it. Not that far off 16th, and looking at some of the history of the guys up ahead of me, I should be alright as long as I keep it in one piece.
Right. That's always a good game plan. Good battle plan is the first finish, and it should be mentioned, of course, Al is filling in for Panzer Faust team member Rich Roman, who is not going to be available tonight, unfortunately. But it should be mentioned, as we are on Panzer Faust Racing, that you know, these guys are really not too far back in points, running currently 7th in the team classification at the moment. Have had some rough luck, particularly at Oran Park. Both drivers there, unfortunately, having some contact and weren't able to get the best results they would have liked. So. But still in all, really a pretty good team effort by this new team here to GT2. Not new drivers, but newly formed team. So Panzer Faust Racing had the opportunity to make some noise in this championship this season. So we did want to take a look at that real quickly, though, because we mentioned Chow Mein Moto, of course, did take over that the top spot in that team classification last week at the Indianapolis Road Course when Team Columbia ran into some problems. So Team Columbia now second in that championship. But David Poole and Brian Mongrain, despite Brian Mongrain having some problems himself, are solidly in third in this championship with 103 points to Chow Mein Moto's 119th. So third place for 05 Motorsports. Very fine results so far. And Kung Fu Racing not too much farther back as well with 88 points. And Precision Motor Racing, PMR, Gup Douglas, and Chris Moses, they're at 87 points, so it's still anybody's game here, not even quite midway through this Season 20 championship yet. So all these points, very vital, very important if these guys expect to make a run at those coveted titles. So well, we have a quick opportunity here. Let's go ahead and remind you that NAGP is here welcoming you to this live broadcast of our Round 4 Season 20 Championship at Charade here in the beautiful French countryside. You know, if you want to make sure that you can follow all the action of your favorite driver, you can click on the GT2 live timing scrolling at the bottom of your screen there, or you can pop on over to NorthAmericanGP.com as well and follow the live timing there, or check in on any of the news and notes of your favorite driver, you know, you can also pick up one of the very fine NAGP t-shirts that are now available there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there are a few left. I know that some other orders have been placed to fill demand, but if you get your order in quickly enough, no doubt you can still get one of those out to you. So if you get the opportunity, you may want to check out one of those shirts as well.
Yeah, right. Plenty of shirts remaining. Medium, large, extra large, and 2X. So, order them up.
Oh, 2X2, Al?
Yep.
Wow. Well, there you go. So I think I'm sold. So check that out when you get the opportunity. Oops. One other quick reminder here. Whoa, as we see it might have been Andres Prieto or teammate Juan Monroy, not sure. We saw a quick spin by him there. One final reminder here. Again, I have taken over lead broadcaster responsibilities, and Mel Miramon is on track, so our pictures won't be quite as crisp as you are used to seeing. I apologize for that, but we want to make sure that they're running nice and smooth for you, so we don't have any breakups in the broadcast for you. We'll make sure we can keep those pictures nice and stable and give you an idea of where your favorite driver's running tonight. If you missed our qualifying session, we can give you a quick update. Alex White walloped the rest of the field with pole position here tonight, so he will be starting from the very pointiest end of the grid and lead this 32-33 car field off on what we expect to be a 32-33 lap race over the course of the next hour. A very interesting track here at Charade. It's going to be quite a challenge, and I think there are still some question marks as to exactly the type of tire wear that we're going to be getting here tonight. And fuel consumption could be an issue as well. So hopefully these guys have done their research and have a good strategy, a good battle plan for how to maximize their chances here for a good finish tonight. So some other news and notes from our qualifying session. Salem Montgomery Jr. was well and truly into the top 5 there early on, slipped back there to 7th. Andres Prieto teammate Juan Monroy was able to slot 8th. Marty Uren was lagging a little bit, didn't get a chance to see when he moved up, but got into the top 10. And Chris Moses as well hung on to the top 10. Jaime Moore was around 11th that entire qualifying period and ended up right there. Mike Monahan has turned in a respectable lap there in 12th. Maybe not as good as that Chow Mein Moto driver would have liked, but teammate Esteban Palacio, of course, turned in that 5th place time, so good shape there. Rodrigo Triana had a very nice effort there to 13th. Don't get the opportunity to mention Rodrigo up there in the top 15 too often, so very nice job for him. Christian Hamilton in 14th, and Kevin Miller put in a nice result to 15th. So I'm looking down the order here a little bit. Not sure why it is David Rowley is back there. He may have had a disconnect. I saw that Ian Jolicoeur did rejoin there in our qualifying 2 session, so I know that Ian must have dropped, or I may have overlooked him even making the initial qualifying period, not sure, but in any event, David Rowley and Ian Jolicoeur will be starting toward the back of this field. Gregory Myers is in 26th place. Not where Gregory would like to be. We know that sometimes he has not too much opportunity to get in practice during the course of the week, and this is a track really that you simply need to get some practice in. Now we see there in 25th Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor, a newcomer here to NAGP, actually just within the last couple days has signed on to run the rest of the remainder of the GT2 Season 20 Championship. So welcome, Matt Taylor. Glad to have you. Matt Taylor will again start 25th. So warm-up nearly complete here. We're going to switch sessions momentarily and And 2 minutes later, we're going to be off and running on this round 4 here at Charade. And it looks like we have an unfortunate update by John Houston. John Houston was unfortunately dropped from the server, so will not be able to take part tonight. So tough luck there, John. Bad luck. Go out and get him next week. See a few of these drivers. Many times drivers will prepare for their pit stops and make sure that they have the timing line correct. But there's a few guys actually out there running some timed laps, maybe trying to get in a few extra of those guys that maybe didn't get quite as much practice in as they would have liked. So here we go. The grid is set. The track is damp. The conditions are for damp. And
it looks like it's gonna rain, Brad.
Yeah, so
it is raining right now.
So an interesting dilemma and decision for these guys. Let's get your starting rundown here, and we'll get to that momentarily. Alex White will lead this field from pole position. Andres Prieto will start second. Aaron Parsons starts third. Excuse me. David Poole will start fourth. Esteban Palacio starts fifth. Kevin Savoie starts sixth. Salem Montgomery Jr. is in seventh. Juan Monroy starts eighth. Marty Wren is in ninth. Chris Moses takes 10th. Jaime Moore starts 11th. Mike Monahan is in 12th. Rodrigo Triana starts 13th. Christian Hamilton is in 14th. Kevin Miller starts 15th. Johnny Lugnutz is in 16th. Thomas Schubeck starts 17th. Gub Douglas 18th. Daniel Wilkerson, 19th. Al Miramon starts 20th. Lou Mascarelli starts 21st. Brian Story's in 22nd. Chuck Carter's in 23rd. John Wathen in 24th. Newcomer Matt Taylor starts 25th. Gregory Myers is in 26th. Sam Rolfe starts 27th. Mike Graytrex is in 38th. Marco Conti's in 29th. David Rowley starts 30th. Ian Jolicoeur is in 31st. And Brian Mongrain is in 22nd. So, there you have it.
Just like the wet, Brad.
Oh boy. So, we have damp now going to wet conditions. We see drivers joining the grid and quickly escaping back to the garage. Picking on these other tires, and boy, talk about a challenge. I can tell you that this is a tough track. We know for certain that some guys have not had all the practice they would have liked on this track. There's been more than a couple drivers complaining who have gotten that practice in. This track is very difficult in the wet, and well, here we go. A full field of 32 starting this tough Charade track in the wet.
Just don't know how to show patience, Brad. It's amazing.
So half a lap in, Alex White now has rocketed out to a quick lead. We saw Salem Montgomery Jr. go off in the Mosler, taking a bit too much grass on the exit of turn 3, and the rest of this field has settled in. However, there have been a few bobbles toward the back. We'll get you caught up on all the action here momentarily. Aaron Parsons now all over the back of Andres Prieto, looking to take advantage of these early conditions. And it has to say, sitting here up in the booth, I don't know that these guys are showing a whole lot of caution or not, but hard to tell up here in the booth, but they look like they're trying to fight pretty hard for positions early. Boy, you see David Poole there not letting Aaron Parsons get away either, and these are going to be conditions he and that Ferrari are just going to love here tonight. So David Poole maybe not minding so much the damp conditions. Kevin Savoie remains toward the sharp end of the grid there in 5th. Esteban Palacio currently 6th. And Rodrigo Triana has made a fantastic start, now running in P7th. Salem Montgomery Jr. was not hurt too bad by his off. Juan Monroy has given up a couple spots, now running in the 9th position. Well, Christian Hamilton also has made up some nice ground currently to run 10th. So let's make sure we stay toward the front here just for a lap or two to make sure we don't miss any of the early action up front. Aaron Parsons not letting Andres get anywhere, and I don't think there's any question that Aaron Parsons does have speed on Andres Prieto, and given the amount of space that Alex White is currently gaining on this duo, no question Aaron Parsons would like to get in front of that Audi just as soon as possible. Boy, David Poole just chomping at the bit as well. I think that over the course of a couple more laps, he might have pace on both of these guys as well. So, as we see Andres make a mistake, Aaron Parsons is going to close that gap rapidly. Boy, Aaron just sitting back there seeing Alex White rocket off into the distance. I don't know that either of these guys ultimately will be able to do anything about it. That BMW just so good in the wet, and here goes Aaron. And a dogfight into this slow right-hander. So much patience required here. Boy, just listen to David Poole breathing that throttle. Oh boy, I think I saw a flash of lightning out there. How's the conditions when you get a chance? When you get a chance. So we'll want to pick up on that battle here just momentarily, but let's get you caught up on exactly where the field is running at the moment. Juan Monroy has taken over that 7th spot. Rodrigo Triana has now fallen back to the 8th position. Mike Monahan has picked up another position himself, now running currently 9th, while Jaime Moore, very nice early effort for him, they're in 10th. Salem Montgomery Jr. unfortunately has lost a few more positions, now running in the 11th position, where Johnny Lugnuts, however, has made a very fine run up, now running 12th, and a whole gaggle of cars running behind Johnny Lugnuts here. Ian Jolicoeur, of course, started at the back, now finds himself all the way up to 13th and putting pressure on the aforementioned Johnny Lugnuts. Thomas Schubeck now well and truly up into the points there in 14th. Kevin Miller started 15th, currently runs 15th. There is definitely lightning out there. These conditions are not going away as Thomas Schubeck makes a move, takes a little wide, and it's going to be... Sorry, Al Merrimon, excuse me, sorry about that. Al Merrimon in that fight, of course, now with David Rowley in that BMW Z4. So David Rowley also picking up some spots from that last position on the grid. Brian Story is very close to the points there in 18th, while Marty Wren has had some type of problem out there. You can see the damage on the, well, maybe not with this broadcast, but trust me, there is damage on that Audi, and no doubt that accounts for his falling back to 19th. Gup Douglas is running 20th, just now getting passed by Brian Mongrain, suffering that no qualifying penalty. So Brian Mongrain has done a nice job moving up this field early. Gregory Myers has not done too much damage himself, though. So currently in 21st, and Gup Douglas is looking to make the move on. Oh, as Gregory gets loose. Oh, Chris Moses, I think I saw a lack of splitter for Chris Moses. Now that is going to make for some challenging driving around this track. He is going to have to come into the pits to get that fixed, and he has, well, he didn't. So, not exactly sure what the thinking is there, but boy, that is going to lead to some serious loss of track time for Chris Moses. Unfortunately, didn't get the opportunity to see what happened there, but Chris will attempt to soldier on at least one more lap with that damage. Daniel Wilkerson now in 24th, and Christian Hamilton in 25th. Matt Taylor looks like that Porsche is relatively clean. Let's look for damage on the back end. No, looks like it's pretty clean. So Matt Taylor starting 25th, running 25th. Christian Hamilton there in 26th. Marco Conti has suffered some type of problem, now running in the 27th position. Mike Graytrix in 28th. Chuck Carter's in 29th. Lou Mascarelli has slid back a few spots himself in 30th. And John Wathen's in 31st, also without a splitter. So we got a couple guys splitterless out there. That is not going to help them out. Conditions continue to worsen, however, not affecting Alex White. Alex White seems to be handling them just fine as he continues to pull out a gap. Now on David Poole, so we did miss some of that action. David Poole now up to second and quite a gap over third place Kevin Savoie in the Jaguar. Now the Jaguar, very fine car in the rain with those tires. Not going to hurt Kevin Savoie at all. So running well there now in the third spot. But Andres Prieto and Aaron Parsons are pretty close to him. So whatever happened, not sure. But now Andres Prieto is in fourth and Aaron Parsons is in fifth. So we did have a change of order there. Sorry we missed that. It is difficult sometimes with a single broadcaster only being able to see one picture at a time to pick up all the action. But in any event, that's what happened. And I mentioned the Jaguars tires, but it has to be said, I think Andres Prieto and Aaron Parsons do look like they can definitely match that pace. So you almost have to think that there was like some likely contact there between Aaron Parsons and Andres Prieto. We saw those guys battling very hard over that, what was the second position. So we'll check in with timing and scoring here. It'll give us a good opportunity for an overview on the gaps of time. David Rowley we see is hounding Johnny Lugnutz. We know Johnny Lugnutz, a very solid driver in the rain. So no surprise here to see him holding on to that, what was a pretty darn good qualifying effort, really, all things being equal. So running that Mercedes to good effect here tonight as the lightning continues to pop and the thunder continues to rumble. Well, you know, sometimes with these types of conditions, after you do get a couple laps under your belt, you don't mind necessarily seeing them maybe get worse, as that might keep things from unexpectedly drying out on you. So maybe if they get a little worse, but not maybe so bad, conditions kind of stay the same, at least it's consistent. That's not always the worst position to be. We see Thomas Schubeck here now really applying some pressure to David Rowley, swinging that Viper around, trying to gain some extra speed there, and really putting in a nice effort now, well and truly into the points, looking to even better those points positions. Nice tidy little battle here between these three. It should be mentioned as well, David Rowley, who you see up in front, is carrying some ballast on his car as well. Didn't make the Indianapolis road course start after that car switch, so still carrying some weight on that BMW. Whoa, Thomas Schubeck gets it in deep. Gets it in deep. That's going to cost him a run there on David. Oh, David taking it pretty loose himself. All these guys really squirming around this track. One thing, you know, it's very critical not to get these cars too low, as that can severely affect handling when we do get these types of conditions. But the good news is this is a relatively bumpy course, so no doubt most of these guys have their ride heights up a little bit anyway. So it shouldn't be a problem in regards to that wet track. David Rowley may now take a chance here. I think he has been stymied a little bit by Johnny Lugnutz. So he may be starting to get to the point where he could be thinking about taking a chance here to get in front. Obviously, he does have the better speed. As we see quite a battle going on back there over the 17th position. Al Merriman in a close fight with Brian Mongrain and, of course, Marty Urin. Don't know exactly the reason why Marty Urin is back in that position after a nice qualifying effort there in the top 10, but certainly under fire now by Brian Mongrain and Al Merriman both. Yeah, and certainly this battle is all coming together now for that fight over 14th. So Johnny Lugnut's out in front of this group, leading that train of cars. So a very interesting battle here. We'll have to keep our eyes on, but let's make sure we haven't missed too much up there toward the front. Alex White does continue to lead this event. And really, as we look at his times, some pretty darn consistent times, all there in the 59s. David Poole now about 7/10 of a second off, but also running pretty good 59s at this point. As you can see, he was a little off there early, but has stabilized those lap times a little bit, so perhaps coming to grips with those conditions. Kevin Savoy, as you can see, still holds down that third position, and it looks like has slipped off the back of the Jaguar, but has gotten in front of Andres Prieto for that fourth position. So it was speculation on this broadcaster's part that Aaron Parsons may have a little bit of speed on Andres, but we'll have to see if that is the case now that Aaron Parsons has gotten around. Interesting, the Jaguar has pulled out that time, but it could be in large measure due to the fight that these guys were having, of course. Esteban Palacio now more or less running by himself there in that sixth position. We've seen Rodrigo Triana about a couple seconds off of, as we've had a momentary problem there with the broadcast. I hope to hell that doesn't happen again. Anyway, so as we see Juan Monroy now closing up on Rodrigo there in that Audi looking like it's performing very well here tonight and in these conditions. So, an interesting battle taking place here among these drivers, and in these conditions we can see now we are working lap 7 of what we figure to be a full-length schedule of 32 or 33 laps. If the rain continues, of course, we will likely end well before that. Juan Monroy continues to pick up time. And I think, looking at it without looking at the timing gaps themselves, they are definitely picking up a bit of time now on Esteban Palacio as well. It'd be interesting to check in on Esteban's teammate here. Mike Monahan did hold the 9th place there for a little bit, but has since dropped one position back to 10th to Jaime Moore, who continues to put on a very nice run here tonight at Charade. So Jaime Moore getting by, and it looks like opening a bit of a gap on Mike Monahan as well. So as they run, we talked about the team classification, as now we see Ian Jolicoeur has now gotten by Mike Monahan as well. I think that it's not too often you see Mike Monahan give up a position like that, so I have to think that Mike Monahan did get some understeer on that car through that corner, and Ian was able to take advantage. Ian Jolicoeur does look pretty quick here tonight, moving up into the top 10 now from what was really essentially dead last on the grid. So very good speed by Ian Jolicoeur. All the guys that haven't had much practice, he certainly had as little as anybody. I don't know that he had many more laps than a few before the race. So very adaptive is Ian Jolicoeur, and he's proven it here tonight so far. Juan Monroy still pushing hard at Rodrigo. So haven't seen any flashes of lightning here recently. We checked back on the conditions not too long ago. They still read as wet. And if we take a quick look, the temperature, if I'm not mistaken, has come up a little bit, but the track has just now gone to damp, so those conditions are drying out for these drivers. And that is, well, we talked about it. It could be difficult, those changing conditions. Sometimes, even if they're bad, but they stay consistent, it's okay. But now these guys will be having some decisions to make. I guess if there's good news, you can say that pit stops will be coming up, well, in the relatively near future. So perhaps if they do need to switch on to some other type of tire compound, they can get within their pit window to do that and not have to worry about making a few stops. But we'll have to see. David Poole, you can see now running by himself, but still we're able to see about 7 seconds off of that Alex White pace. So really hanging in, it has to be said. I think Alex White, all things being equal in the dry, should have pace on the field. So David Poole may want to take advantage of these weather conditions. Perhaps that can gain him a few extra seconds here and there if he wants to really challenge him. If it's dry, it could be a difficult proposition. So Esteban Palacio has really not given up too much more ground yet to Rodrigo and Juan Monroy. That battle is still well and truly underway. I should think on balance these cars will be pretty well matched over the course of this entire circuit. Both have relatively similar handling characteristics. Juan Monroy thinking about that look on the inside. Rodrigo either gave some room or had to set up a little wide, so Juan Monroy finally through to that 7th position. And oh, as we see Mustang unfortunately has some damage on there. So while that battle was engaged, Jaime Moore has continued to pick up some ground on those positions, and we see lurking just behind there Ian Jolicoeur. Takes it a little wide through that corner there, but nonetheless is showing a good speed and continuing to hound down whatever positions he can get. Take a quick look through the field here as well here. Before we do that, let's make sure we aren't seeing anything too different up front, as we have Alex White into the pits. Perhaps looking to get onto some different tires early here and maybe try to gain even more of an advantage that way. It's hard to say exactly what tires he
Track's gone damp.
Roger that. Thank you, Al. Thank you for the update. So an interesting choice here by Alex White, and the type of tires he might be wanting to put on. You have to say it might be a little early for stops yet, as though the temperature does continue to climb, which would be an indication of continued drying. That's not necessarily the case. So, boy, it looks pretty slick. If you come in early and you take those inners and it continues to dry, you're in trouble. If you take those wet treaded tires, or if you go the opposite direction, you can get hosed the other way. So interesting choice. Maybe coming in a little early for Alex White. We'll see how it shakes out. So that will put David Poole into the catbird seat, having the lead currently as they run on track. Kevin Savoie now is in 2nd place. Aaron Parsons, after getting by Andres, now runs 3rd, and of course Andres is in 4th. Esteban now runs 5th. Well, Juan Monroy, we saw him make the pass on Rodrigo. Runs 7th. Of course, he's in 7th. Jaime Moore continues to close that gap with Ian Jolicoeur not far behind. Mike Monahan is in 10th. And Alex White has come out of the pits now in 11th. So very interesting. We'll give him a lap or two and check back on his lap times and see where those lap times are at relative to his running earlier. No question he was on probably the full wet tread, I should think, to start. Either the hard or the soft, but most likely the hard wet weather tread. Perhaps now on the inters, we'll check back with those lap times and see what's what. Salem Montgomery Jr. Had some problems there early, but after getting back toward that 11-12... Oh, as we see an Audi now go off, that may be Marty Urin. It is indeed. So Marty Urin will give up a position to Brian Mongrain, as he now falls to 14th, has some damage there on that Audi. David Rowley is circulating around their 15th on track. Thomas Schubeck in the points in 16th with teammate Al Miramon right behind. Gregory Myers now running up to 18th. Gup Douglas there in 19th. Brian Story in 20th. Lou Mascarelli's in 21st. Mike Graytex putting that Ast into pretty good use, though it too is suffering a little bit of front end damage there in 22nd, while Daniel Wilkerson follows pretty closely behind in 23rd. Chris Moses, we saw him have those splitter problems and some more front end damage. So a brand new splitter that team got on. Oh boy, just loose as heck. I tell you what, really that is really a push loose condition by Chris Moses. That car really looks like it's struggling, either in these conditions or on these tires, or a combination of both. Don't know. New splitter, yet a bit more damage from Chris Moses in 24th. Kevin Miller's in 25th. John Wathen may have been the Mustang we saw off the track. John Wathen really running what has to be said a relatively disappointing 26. Matt Taylor, our newcomer Matt Taylor, holding strong at 27th. Chuck Carter now running 28th. And those are the end of your runners. So 28 cars out there on track, and though we have had some attrition, really could have been quite a bit worse, I think you'd have to say, given the nature of the track and the conditions. So the guys are gamely sticking it out here, and congratulations to them even just for that. Well, this battle has quickly been joined. Suspected it might become a four-way battle, and as we see a Mustang off once again there with the lack of splitter and off in the grass. So unfortunate part there. And we see now, went the wrong way, excuse me. We see now Jaime Moore putting some pressure on teammate Rodrigo Triana. Coming down in this tricky first corner. As Rodrigo is going to go for the up and under, doesn't quite make it work going through the first of those chicanes. So nice move there by Jaime Moore. Jaime Moore really proving some nice speed here tonight. Really continues to put that Lambo to very good use. And negotiating Matt Taylor. Tough task for a new guy, new to NAGP, excuse me, not new. Boy, oh boy, look at that fight. So it's Audi, Lamborghini, Lamborghini, Audi. These are not for insignificant positions either, it has to be said. This is well and truly a battle over the sixth place on track as they run. And well, shoot, you get out there, any little help and you suddenly find yourself in the top five. So important positions these are. I see Ian Jolicoeur now diving into the pits. No doubt when we've been on this action, there has been some pit stop activity. We'll check in on that and see if we can't get you caught up on those stops as they cycle through. But I sure would like to get a chance to look at Alex White's sector lap times here and see where they're running. Well, Alex White has dipped into a to the 58s, as you can see. A 58.3 betters his best lap time now by quite a bit. So whatever tires he's on, I have to assume that he would be on the intermediates. So, but I suppose that has yet to be confirmed or denied. But in any event, whatever tire he's on now is certainly working better than the last ones he was on. So it looks like David Poole now. Boy, that Kevin Savoie time really was jumping there for a second. I wonder if Kevin Savoie had some type of problem or some momentary off. We see actually that now that second place battle has been joined by Aaron Parsons, and Andres Prieto really has not given up too much time to Aaron Parsons. We have speculated perhaps that Aaron Parsons had quite a bit of speed on Andres Prieto. I don't think that is the case. Andres showing plenty of speed here as this stint has gotten deeper in toward our pit stop window. But boy, really slow around these corners now.
In the pits, Brad, in the pits.
Al Merrimont in the pits and going to inters. So the track conditions seem pretty stable to you, Al. Does it seem like the track's going to dry out too quickly, or are you confident those inters will hold up for you?
They feel pretty decent right out of the chute. I'll let you know in a few, though.
Roger that. Thank you, Al. For those of you just joining us, we'll remind you that Al Merrimont is subbing tonight for Rich Roman there in that team, Panzer Faust Racing. So as those stops continue to cycle through, we'll get you caught up on who's running where. But certainly if this track does not continue to severely dry out here in the future, Alex White is certainly, you'd have to say, in the catbird seat now, running some of the best times on track, and has been since quite a few of these guys were out there on those older treads losing a bit of time. So I think surely we'll see Alex White extend that nearly 7-second lead he had before diving in for that relatively early pit stop.
Looks like inters are the way to go, Brad. I don't know if I took enough fuel, though.
Uh-oh. So Al Merrimont questions on fuel over the course of this race. Boy, I'm kind of looking at the timing, and I guess I'm a little surprised by the time Andres Prieto is off David Poole. So I haven't been keeping as close a track as I maybe should have been on the relative times those guys were running to each other. So David Poole may not be able to quite match the pace of Alex White, I suspect probably in the dry, but certainly seems to be better than everybody else on track besides Alex White, given the nature of that gap he was able to open up. I was a little curious about that only because of the qualifying time we saw him put in. Now Jaime Moore has gone to 4th place over Juan Monroy. We have to be a little careful giving you official updates of who's passed who because of our pit stop rotation and making sure we don't get confused about what's happened there. But so indeed, Jaime Moore and Juan Monroy neither have made their stop yet. And
Stop raining.
Okay, so it has stopped raining out on track. It looks like it will only continue to dry from here on out. And you know what? It looks like the skies have cleared somewhat. So we are currently working lap 15. There's no reason to suspect this thing couldn't go 30 laps. 29 or 30 laps, even with the rain that we've had. So there's plenty of time for this track to dry yet, and perhaps catch a few players out. As we see now, Rodrigo has a big slide off track. This whole group comes together. I think that's Alex White. That is Alex White in this mix. Now, after having made his stop, so he is well and truly in traffic and in this fight. No doubt that will slow him down and give an opportunity for David Poole to make up a little bit of ground. These guys will be coming in, I should think. All three of the guys fighting over that position will have to come in for tires here, as they are seriously under speed relative to Alex White. But boy, what a fight these guys are having, and for Alex White to have to negotiate these guys and maintain good speed, it's going to be a challenge for him. Oh! Wow, Jaime Moore not pitting. Also not giving ground to Alex White, our virtual leader. So that's going to make things a little tense here for Alex White. He is going to want more than anything to get by that Jaime Moore Lamborghini, as we see one of the Fords go off there in turn one after his stop. So Rodrigo Triana also electing to stay out, with David Poole now not far behind. We will check that gap, but boy, I don't think it's much over 7 seconds to Alex White. So it certainly has, I'd say the early tire stop for Alex White and the time he gained on track has been negated by trying to get through this battle. And we've seen this before. Jaime Moore is very reluctant to give up spots, even when really does not virtually have that position secured by not having made a stop yet. So yeah, Alex White held up there a little bit. We'll get to those gaps momentarily. Rodrigo, he has yet to pit. David Poole has pitted, however. Well as had Aaron Parsons, and we don't see Andres Prieto in this mix anywhere. Mike Monahan now in 10th before stop cycle through. Thomas Schubeck is in 11th. I suspect he probably has not stopped. And that Viper is looking a little tough around the corners here. Sorry about flipping through there. I just wanted to make sure we knew where we were at on track. Okay, I think there was a little timing and scoring issue. Perhaps Thomas Schubeck has come in. Andres Prieto just now has come in, it looks like. So that's why we didn't see Andres out on track. I got a little skewed up with my pit stop rotation there. So Andres now into the pits. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out relative to that Aaron Parsons battle. Yeah, definite change in lap times here for these guys now that the track has completely dried out. Hard to say exactly who's going to be on the intermediates and who may be able to make use of slick tires. Ian Jolicoeur, late stop for him. Perhaps he will have the opportunity to get on the slicks and make up some ground here. Well, now, wait a minute. I'm seeing a lap time that looks like he may have already made a pit stop. In fact, he has made a pit stop. Boy, he must have gone on to the wet treaded tires, or is looking to jump in and grab slicks and as early as he can to make up as much ground on some slick tires, perhaps. Interesting to know what might have happened there. I'm not sure. Esteban Palacio has yet to make his pit stop. Esteban now currently in the 2-minute 1 second range to Alex's 1:58. So a good 3 seconds off the pace there for Esteban. As I'm desperately trying to get you the best pictures I can here and get you caught up on the action. Jaime Moore yet to pit. He has given up a lot of ground, I tell you. And Rodrigo Triana, same thing. These guys are really giving up a lot of ground on track. Not sure it's going to work out for these guys as they both now have come in for that that service. They'll get the opportunity to go onto the slicks if it's dry enough for it, but boy, really giving up some ground there on track. Let's see if it's a strategy that's going to pay off for him. That should be the end of our pit stop rotation there of the guys running toward the front. So after they stop, we'll get a real clear picture here of who might be running where. Okay, sorry about that. So I did want to take a quick look at the gaps here. We see David Poole running about 7 seconds in arrears to Alex White, and that was just about the same amount of time. David Poole was behind Alex before those pit stops, so I guess it's going to come down to a tire choice. Alex White certainly has to be on the intermediates. I would think, stopping as early as he did. David Poole, not... I think perhaps David Poole could go either way. Let me take a look at his stop. David Poole has just stopped, so there's a very good chance that David Poole is on the slicks. Al, when you get a chance, only when you get a chance, let us know if those inters are holding up or if you think it might be time for slicks.
Well, I'm ahead of you. I went to slicks and now it started raining again.
Okay, so we couldn't pick that up on our broadcast pictures. So the track started drying out. A couple of these guys, Ian Jolicoeur for one, came back in again to pick up on the slick tires, but it has started raining out on track again. So, wow. This Charade, tough track, a difficult place in all regards, and now we have tremendously erratic weather here for this place here tonight. Unbelievable. So it could have been disastrous perhaps for Alex White coming in early if he did take on those intermediate tires, but it could have things could have swung back into his favor. Very tough race to call here, folks. I'm doing the best job I can with all this frenetic activity as Esteban Palacio now has come back into the pit. So if he did see the raindrops back on that windshield again, interesting that he would elect to stop again. No, this is his first stop, so we hadn't had those, or maybe he had stopped when I said that stops and cycled through and he was still, well, in any event. How about this? How about I let you know that Brian Mongrain now is right behind. Oh, Mike Monahan has spun coming off the last corner. That's going to put Brian Mongrain up into that 9th position. And now 8th, he picks up another spot in the pits. Oh yes, Jaime Moore. Jaime Moore must have had somebody in his pit stall. Oh, we just saw Jaime Moore come in last lap. Jaime must have had somebody in his pit stall when he came in for that service. I saw one of them sitting toward the side of pit lane. I was wondering what was going on. And it looks like a fantastic run for Jaime Moore has come to an end here tonight. Oh, what disaster. Really one of the fastest guys out on track, Jaime Moore, before those stops, running in 4th place. And, well, it looks like it's come to an end. So, tough break there. The skies are continuing to darken up from my perspective. Whatever's happened on these pit stop rotations, I'm not just 100% sure at this point, but I can tell you that Kevin Savoy has picked up a ton of time on David Poole. I can tell you that for sure that they are running 2nd and 3rd on track, and that Kevin Savoy has picked up just a lot of time. So very, very interesting. Kevin did manage to, before he made his first stop, to stay out in front of that Aaron Parsons Andres Prieto battle. But had not really pulled substantially away, but now finds himself right behind David Poole. So, an interesting turn of events, and boy, he sure is closing up. So, I think this says pretty conclusively David Poole did switch on to those slick tires. So, only one stop for David Poole, but slick tires, and well, there you go. Tough break. David Poole, of course, had incredible breaks, both in GT2 and GT1 both. Oh, as we see some contact, I think David Poole is getting a little bit of a lag there, a little bit of wobble. I really think that contributed to that. He may not know that that's the case, but in any event, unfortunately, not huge damage done there. But Kevin Savoie through to second place. Just to finish up, David Poole did have some great luck there in very difficult weather conditions last Monday night, and then for our GT1 event this last Thursday as well, taking the win both weeks. So congratulations, David Poole, in those very tough changing conditions. Okay, so Aaron Parsons currently 4th and quite a ways behind that battle. Don't know if Aaron Parsons had 2 stops. I don't think so. Andres Prieto, now that he has made his stop, runs not too far off of Aaron's bumper, but Andres also could be on the slicks. It's a possibility. He did have a relatively late stop. Esteban Palacio is running 6th. He's been there the majority of the race, and it looks like he's handled the conditions pretty well, and his pit stop strategy has been solid enough to keep him in that 6th place. Juan Monroy is in 7th, while Brian Mongrain is in 8th. Salem Montgomery Jr., don't know where he's at on his pit stops or the tires that he's on, but after running into some trouble, finds himself currently running 9th. Mike Monahan is in 10th. Ian Jolicoeur's in 11th. David Rowley has picked up a few positions, however, he's managed to do it. Rodrigo Triana now 13th. So we saw those guys stay out very late, but I don't think it was late enough quite to pick up the slick tires. Rather, the intermediate tires. Not sure on that, so he could be struggling on slicks. Jaime Moore is in 14th. In any event, those guys did do some damage to themselves, really, by staying out the amount of time that they did. So Gregory Myers there in 15th. Marty Urin, just a disastrous race for Marty Urin. Had a very fine qualifying effort, but threw it off track or had some other type of problem. Has been back in that 15th position now the majority of this race. Chris Moses, we've seen some of his struggles, still with that front end damage. Now in 17th place, at least near to the points. So if there's anything to be said for this disastrous night for Chris Moses, our championship leader, at least he has opportunity to salvage a couple points here. Lou Mascarelli has picked up a couple of positions from where we have seen him earlier in the night, now running 18th. Daniel Wilkerson as well. Just a couple of positions off the points. Al Miramon there is in 20th. And Thomas Schubeck, I was kind of wondering where Thomas might be. We saw him really fighting for that 14th position earlier and some nice points, but finds himself on the outside looking in at the moment. Brian Story is in 22nd. Kevin Miller, teammate Kevin Miller, is in 23rd. Matt Taylor is in 24th, so he continues his very solid run here, especially given the conditions. Mike Graytrex as well, putting in a solid run there in 25th. Chuck Carter in 26th. And John Wathen is in the garage. So there you go. Still 26 of our 32 starters out there on track, which still in all is not too bad, it has to be said, especially considering the carnage we had last week. So let's get you caught up quickly on the action up front. Alex White is almost surely on the intermediate tires. He is being hounded by Kevin Savoie, who is just picking up time on him in leaps and bounds. So at this point, I'm just not going to speculate on who might be on what tire compounds and all that. But the one thing we know for sure is Kevin Savoie is making some serious inroads, and what a coup this would be for him. He showed some nice pace there in qualifying, but toward the end of the session found himself back a little bit. I just did not expect Kevin to have this type of race pace. Yeah, so I wouldn't think this track would really suit this Jaguar particularly well, but obviously he's making it work well, and the rain isn't hurting him, as that Jaguar does not mind getting around in the rain too much. So, a fight for the lead coming up here shortly. David Poole, big slide off the final corner there, so whatever's going on, he's struggling a little bit there. Andres Prieto continues to run 4th, 5th for Aaron Parsons. Esteban Palacio still runs 6th, more or less by himself. The Juan Monroy now is picking up some ground on that 6th position. So there you go. Ian Jolicoeur, we know he's made 2 stops, so to still be running in the 10th position, that very nice effort there by Ian. So Kevin Savoie, the battle now is joined for the overall lead of this round 4. Oh boy, getting a little bit of lag there as well by Alex White. Alex just couldn't quite hold that. Well, no, he's fighting back. Boy, you can see the difficulty of a guy who's having little connection issues there. Makes it so tough.
It's round 6, Brad.
Round 6. Excuse me. Round 6. Well, we have seen Alex White in the past occasionally be aggressive, protecting and defending that top spot. Other times we have seen him be a little bit more cautious. Well, I don't have to tell you which time this is. And this will be tough through this chicane. Kevin does have to give some ground. More or less impossible chicane to go through too wide, so heads up move there by Kevin, but he is sure pushing those tires pretty hard, whatever compound he happens to be on. And well, here comes David Poole getting back into this fight. We should check back quickly on this the other battle we were watching between Juan Monroy, who was appearing to pick up a little bit of ground there on Esteban Palacio, and perhaps has not picked up any more time just yet. We'll check back on that in a few. Alex White had a notion of defending that inside line and did. Now slides wide. Kevin Savoie will. Oh, and a little mistake. A little mistake by Kevin keeps that position from occurring. So he's going to have to reset and give it a shot again. Alex White did have that big slide and gave Kevin the opportunity, but on throttle, Kevin just couldn't quite keep that back end in line, and they resume. David Poole, should he have the opportunity to pass these two and go on to this win, I think would be ecstatic. I know that he was really looking forward to this track in this Ferrari, but might have felt like he was stymied a little bit by this sudden pace by Alex White with all that weight. The car changed to the Z4, but may still yet be in line here for a late race pass for the win here at our round 6 GT2 Season 20 Championship. Kevin Savoie continuing to put the pressure on Mr. White. And you can't fault a guy for defending late in a race like that, but boy, Alex sure has given up a lot of ground here to David Poole as a result of fighting Kevin Savoie so hard. And it's possible this guy may give up 2 positions here as a result of trying to fight for 1. But can't fault a guy for wanting to chalk that W into the record books, as Kevin Savoy will get another good run coming down the hill. Will be on the outside this time, however. Alex White taking it in deep, and the up and under by Kevin gets the power down nicely this time. Just incredible action. Now three-way action for the lead as David Poole has inserted himself into this fight.
That feels like it's got a lot more wet, Brad.
The track conditions continue to worsen. Thank you, Al. Again, it's going to be impossible at this point to speculate on. Oh, as Kevin takes a little wide around the first corner. Tags the wall a little bit. Oh, heavy braking for Kevin Savoy. A little bit of contact will get him by Alex White as David Poole looks. Kevin's going to give the position back to Alex White. I think that was a pretty gentlemanly move there. I think Kevin Savoy understood that he had got his braking a little wrong there, a little too deep, and initiated that contact. So he gave the position back. Nice move there. Let's quickly check in on the amount of laps we have run here. So currently working lap. Oh, I was on the second times there, but we don't want to miss this action. Oh boy, now these guys are all over the place. Really, really taking on those conditions, and all that fighting Alex White did may have paid off in the end. If Kevin Savoy really starts struggling with whatever tire compound he's on. Oh, Alex White, very wide again. Boy, really struggling in that corner there at the bottom of the hill. No doubt that weight is causing a terrible understeer on that BMW, as there's just some horrible lagging here going on with these guys. It makes things so difficult. I think that is Savoy having the majority of the problem. So does make things pretty difficult.
Tracks has gotten so wet. It's some of these guys are probably on slicks. It's impossible.
Right, so very damp conditions now, according to Al Marimon. They're sitting in for...
Still damp, but it's just gotten so wet. It should change to wet pretty soon, for sure.
Yeah, roger that. So right on the cusp of truly wet conditions. That's got to be, I think that's got to be the deal, is Kevin maybe took a chance on the slicks. On his pit stop, went ahead and tried it, and it worked out for him for a while, but now the conditions are such that it's simply too much. So the swings that we've had in this race and how they've managed to work out for Alex White, kind of time and again, along with that great speed he's showing, have all conspired to really make him the favorite here, though he. Somewhat luckily here, as that luck factor has swung back and forth several times. So very interesting. Now we can take a gander there. Now 27 laps deep. Surely we're only a couple, 3 laps here from the end of this event. And let's go ahead and give you an eyeball there on your time and scoring, so you can see some of your favorite drivers are running now. Salem Montgomery Jr. continues to run there in the top 10. Ian Jolicoeur is in 9th and 10th. Ian Jolicoeur has just got past Salem Montgomery Jr. Oh, who looks like he has had
just spun it.
Yeah, Salem Montgomery Jr. just has had a spin. These positions actually, that's a good point, will be changing here right toward the end of this race, as the track now has gone officially wet, and that temperature sure has dropped as well. Always an indication of that. So. Certainly the guys that did make that very late pit stop, thinking they were in a catbird seat and running onto those slick tires, must have felt like they had really staged some type of cue, but in the end, it may not work out very well for them. Anybody on the slick tires at this point, I should think, is just in a relatively nightmare situation now. I don't know if Al's going to be able to respond, but we do know that he went on to those.
It's a nightmare.
Okay, so nightmare on slick tires, according to Al Marimon. So well off the pace these guys are going to be. Those that did get caught out on those slicks. Juan Monroy goes to 7th. Esteban Palacio now 7th. Or 6th, excuse me. Juan Monroy 6th. Esteban Palacio 7th. Prieto is struggling. He did make a late stop. He is, I would think, surely on the slicks. David Poole, I could go either way with David Poole. Given his relative pace over Kevin Savoie, at this point I should think Inter's not, but who knows. Tough break for Salem, just falling out of the top 10, but plenty of time, even if there's only a lap left yet to recover. One guy goes off in front of you, well, there you go. We saw good examples of that over the course of the last couple weeks with some of the conditions we had there, and just what kind of damage these conditions can elicit. So David Rowley now in 12th. Jaime Moore, 13th, has done a nice job picking up another couple positions from those late stops we saw him make. Marty Urin is still around 15th. Gregory Myers is in 15th. Chris Moses now into the points with only 1 thus far, but Al Marimon doing the best job he can on those slicks. Kevin Miller not too far behind, really there in 19th.
Joe Accor's about to get past my Monahan. Charlie Cor's on slicks. Monahan's on Inters, it looks like. Oh, wet.
Roger that, thank you. So, closing laps here at Charade. The track has gone fully wet here for the last couple laps. And really one of the best direct fights on track right now is for that second spot. Both these positions here, Kevin Savoie in 2nd and David Poole in 3rd, looking for those podium positions now. Alex White has clawed out some ground. I can only speculate perhaps that Kevin Savoie is on the slicks. It's possible, I suppose, that both are on the slicks. David Poole just putting them to a little bit better use, and particularly in this corner right here, as he is going to get by relatively easy after really a protracted fight over the last lap or two. And it looks like David Poole should not have too much of a problem pulling away from Kevin Savoie. It looked like there, for a few laps, Kevin Savoie just would not be denied the win here tonight, but the changing conditions has caught him out, and so slips back to 3rd place. Give us an update when you can, Al, only if you can. Oh, okay, so is that the end of the race there?
Sorry,
okay.
checkered flag, yeah.
Okay, there we go. So Alex White does come in the win. Sorry, folks, it's difficult sometimes. Oh, we missed a great battle. I apologize. Andres Prieto finished 4th ahead of Aaron Parsons. Not sure what happened there. Juan Monroy will come across in 6th. Esteban Palacio will come across in 7th. Brian Mongray, nice finish there to 8th. And Ian Jolicoeur looks like will come home in 9th. But quite a ways back off that 8th place. These guys, our conditions really did come into play here tonight. Not sure that we expected that. Mike Monahan can't quite get up there for that 9th position, but will come home a very nice 10th. So, yeah, chance of rain here only average. The guys didn't have a lot of opportunity really to practice in the wet, but kudos to the majority of this field. Boy, and I'm sorry we missed another pretty good battle there late as we were so focused on that battle for the podium there. Looks like Marty Uren will be our last car on the lead lap here tonight. So Marty will finish it off in 14th. Well, that was a difficult one to keep up with here for you tonight. So I hope that you were all taking advantage of that live timing to make sure you had a very good idea of where your favorite driver was running tonight. But in any event, we caught plenty of action. Very interesting event with Alex White putting down a relatively dominating qualifying effort, but having some problems, being put under some pressure towards the second part of this race as we had some extremely challenging conditions to overcome. But in any event, while David Poole did not get the win here tonight, I think he was even thinking that was a possibility. Even with some winner's weight, he did manage to cap off that second place. So a nice run for David Poole. And our championship is going to change yet again here tonight. Chow Mein Moto put in a very nice effort, but also Team Columbia, that Andres Prieto and Juan Monroy duo put in a very nice drive themselves. I think that they will close the gap to that Chow Mein Moto squad with that effort here tonight. And of course, Andres Prieto finished well and truly ahead of Chris Moses. So Andres Prieto may go back into the lead in this Drivers' Championship. Very, very interesting race. We saw weather the dominant factor over the course of these last two events, and we'll have to look forward to more next week because as we've seen so far throughout this championship, anything goes. Okay, well, I am going to get the opportunity here to catch my breath, get a sip of water because I need it. And Al, you have any final thoughts from Charade? It was an interesting race tonight.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a difficult one for these guys to overcome the changing conditions. Some incidents further up the grid that pushed some guys back, but that so right at the halfway point, some guys like myself came in a little early, others stayed out. Waited to see what was going to happen, but made for a great finish, Brad, for sure.
Indeed it was, Al, and I'm actually looking for one guy I really wanted to pick up real quick here before the broadcast. Didn't quite get the opportunity to. Well, I just saw that he made a comment on our voiceover IP that he'll be back, so we'll try to get him next week. I was kind of hoping to chat with Salem Montgomery Jr. a little bit before the race. Didn't get a chance to do it, and he's gone now, so he won't do it. But yes, that was good stuff. We're going to go ahead and sign off now, but that was your action for your round 6 at Charade. And we thank you so much for tuning in. Stop by the website when you get a chance. Tune in next week for continued coverage of this season 20